It's here.
Why are you doing this?
I just felt like running.
Over here. I'm open. Throw it. Toss it. That was weak. The wind caught it. Alright guys, so as you just saw, we have the transmission controller. And I have to say, this kit, pretty nice. You know, it comes in with all the wiring, pins. He even sent me some solder and heat shrink tubing, you know, and we got wire loom for all of it, including 2 rolls of Tessa tape. This is a little different than the stuff that I've been using. This is more of like a, I don't know, nylon ribbon. I don't know. So yeah, well, that's kind of cool. I went with Jason at transmissiontuner.com. That was actually a suggestion from one of you guys. Someone sent me an email. I wish I could remember who it was or find the email, but someone sent me an email and said, hey, send this guy an email. We've used him a few times. He's a good guy. So started working with him. Yeah, super excited. There's the TCM itself. I ended up being able to get it a little bit cheaper than I originally thought. Originally, he quoted me out for a whole plug and play kit. You know, it would come with everything kind of already made up, and instead we kind of talked and he sent me the do-it-yourself kit. So this is basically just everything I need and I have to put it together, which saves him some time, which saves me some money. Kit comes with everything you need. It's really nice how he's got it all, you know, separate bags for everything, and all the connectors I need are here. So I guess we're gonna set about starting to get this wired up and installed. I think I said I want to put it under the dash here where the old kind of computers were. I'm probably gonna have to do a little bit of work here. It says not to have this aluminum heatsink touch anything that's grounded, but somewhere in here it's gonna go, somewhere that I can actually get to the connector and unplug it if need be. So probably facing like that direction, somewhere in there would probably be just fine. And we'll get to wiring it. He sent some pretty good instructions here with it, so we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna start by reading those. The information provided in this kit is not public information. Please honor the hard work that I have put into building my business by using this information respectfully. Do not post on forums, Facebook, etc. So I can't remember if I mentioned this in a video or not. You know, this Allison stuff seems to be pretty proprietary, and there's not a whole lot of information about Allison stuff out there. You know, everyone says, I want a detailed video on the wiring the Allison. Unfortunately for you guys, you're gonna have to pay for that information like I did. You know, I'm not gonna, like he said, this is his business. This is how he makes a living. You know, I can't just go out and show you guys how to do it for free just because I paid for it. But honestly, this was well worth the money. I've spoke to other people. My buddy Gary, how you doing, Gary, if you're watching this? He recently had to buy a TCM for one of his Duramaxes. He said it was 300 bucks just for the TCM. For this whole kit, I paid 600 bucks. I think it was 650, I don't know, like 675 with shipping and all that, you know, and it includes the TCM. So, and don't quote me on these prices. Like, don't email him and be like, hey, Drew said this. I don't, you know, things are constantly changing. So I think it's well worth the money. You know, you get the information, you get the whole kit. Now we're ready to go. There's nothing left but to get it in the truck. So I'm not gonna be doing like a detailed video on what does what and what goes where and all that fun stuff, but I'll probably throughout the process just kind of, you know, do a time lapse here, time lapse there. Hopefully we'll be done soon. All right guys, so I've been plugging away at the electrical. I haven't been filming a whole lot. There's a couple of reasons for that. As you know, we're not covering a whole lot on the transmission wiring, and that's kind of what I've been working on. You know, this stuff just takes time, and it's just one of those things like, what do you film? Give you a quick update where we're at. As you can see, there's a lot of wires now going to our fuse box. It is completely full now. We have every fuse used up, every relay used up, but things are looking good. We got pretty much everything in here is labeled. These will do cooling fans. There's 2 of them in there for neutral switches for different things, and got one for reverse lights and one for something. Yeah, so that's all looking good up there. See, we got our ECM or our TCM punched through the firewall. Still working on how I'm going to seal that up, but we got our transmission wiring kind of done. We got the transmission harness all done, so all of like the wiring on the transmission side is done, and this is pretty much all we have left to finish for the transmission wiring. These all have to go inside the truck. This body connector here is full, which I knew it was going to get full. You know, I knew there wouldn't be enough spaces there. I should have swapped it out for something bigger, but instead we're going to go ahead and put this in there. This is a 31 pin Deutsch bulkhead connector. It wasn't that expensive, but fully waterproof, nice and round, so it'll be easy to drill a hole for, and that'll give us 31 spaces, which should be like 15 more than we need. Today I'm going to work on getting that put in, start wiring the remainder up. I'm starting to feel like the East Coast distributor of terminals here. And we also got the dashboard back in the truck, which is cool. All of the wiring underneath is done, so now we just have to finish out everything up front here, put connectors on, so then we'll basically just plug in everything else. All of our transmission wiring came over here. We're gonna have some buttons here for like tow haul mode and overdrive off, and we got the pre-select, a few other things, and some warning lights, and those are gonna go in this panel here since that's where the original overdrive off button went, and we had some space there. Dang it. Well, it's going fantastic. Thanks for asking. You didn't, but one of my favorite things to do when working on a project is tear things apart that I've already done and made look nice, you know, tear them back out and really screw them up. So this is what we're doing here. I had to add my resistor in. It's a terminating resistor. It's 120 ohms. You need one at each end of your data link. Not 100% the reasoning behind it. I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments, but I believe that it helps quiet down noise. I don't really know. But it goes between the positive and negative on your data link. So these are the wires for my 1939. And also I had to tear all this apart to get in there. And of course I ended up slicing off my shield wire right there. I guess isn't such a bad thing because I wasn't really pleased. You know, the shield wire is uninsulated, so it doesn't really seal when you push it into the connector like the rest of the wires do. I had the idea to just solder on a piece of actual wire. That way it'll seal properly once we slide it in there. So that should be better than it was. I hate having to like pull things back apart, but unfortunately I wasn't patient enough to wait until we had everything to get this end done, so here we are. So this is how I did my terminating resistor. I put the slices in the wire far enough apart that they can't touch each other, and then we'll put heat shrink over the positive, and then we'll put all the wires inside of a bigger heat shrink so nothing shorts out. And I think the wires will help hold that because these resistors, the leads on them are just a solid wire, so they're prone to breaking off with vibration and stuff, and you know, this thing don't vibrate none. Hopefully having the 2 wires right next to it will help stiffen it up and take some of the vibration out of those right there. Jason, transmissiontuner.com, he recommended doing it this way, which is how I was going to do it originally. So you put the resistor in a piece of wire, that way it's kind of all flexible, but I just didn't really know how I was gonna put that in there, and I figured that this would work just as good, so I think it'll be fine. If not, it won't be. So yay us. I also got my bulkhead connector in, and this outside is wired up. So you can see all my wires nicely labeled. Now we just have to get the inside done up. That's this group of wires here. Get that done up, and then like do some stuff up here and down here and over there. And yeah, then we'll be good to go. Contact. Oh, I forgot how loud that was. You know what really grinds my gears? Label makers. Why do you have to spit out a little 2-inch blank piece before you start printing? So all the labels that I made for all my wiring so far, almost 7 feet of wasted ribbon tape. That's almost 2 cassettes of ribbon tape completely wasted because this is how they design them. You know, if it spits out 2 inches of nothing every time you print a label, you know, they're going to sell more ribbon tape. And I tried so hard to get it to like not do that. You can see some of these are longer than others because you could change settings and like get them to make them shorter, but this was like the shortest you could get them. And I know what you're saying, you know, Drew, maybe you should just type out all of your labels at once. That way you only have one of these per printout. They thought of that too. There's a 6-inch limit. You can only print 6 inches worth of text per label, because that's what I was doing. I'd type in as much as it would let me and then print it out. And this is how much I ended up with. Come on, brother. You gotta do better than that. Woo, woo. All right, guys. So we got the transmission stuff all wired up, and I realized I never really shot kind of a final how everything turned out, or me like doing half of this stuff. So this is what you get. Everything's kind of done with the transmission stuff. As for like the tuning and stuff, we're still kind of working through that. I haven't been very great about like doing that, but basically we use EFI Live. I forget what the V3, I don't know, but either way there's a AutoCal thing, and that is the interface between the TCM and the computer. So he sends me a file and I load the file on. The first time we got things set up, he did a remote session. So he logged into my computer remotely and he was able to get the software all set up and the first program kind of on the TCM and everything ready to go. And after that, I would take it out for a drive, do a data log. Then I would send the data log over to him. He'd review it, make some tweaks to the tune, and then send me a new file to flash onto the TCM to give a try to see if it fixes certain things. So up under the dash, we do have an OBD2 port, and that OBD2 port is strictly for the TCM. It does nothing else. We do also have the 9-pin round Deutsch connector, and that is for the ECM. If I ever took it to CAT, they could hook up to it and do a re-rate for me. Maybe. But on the dash here, we have 3 buttons and 2 lights. This light here, the little orange one. So that one does a bulb check when you first turn it on. That's hooked to the TCM. And basically, if it senses any issues, that light will illuminate and tell you there's a problem. The temp light just goes to a temperature switch, so that does not do a bulb check at the beginning. These 2 bulbs here, you do have to put a resistor across the positive and negative. Otherwise, they will stay illuminated slightly all the time, or at least this one, you'd have to do that. Then we have engine brake. It's not an actual engine brake. When this is activated, basically as soon as the TCM sees like you took your foot off the throttle pedal, it downshifts with the torque converter locked up. It's not as aggressive as tow haul mode, but it is I guess it's a slight engine brake. And I guess if I wanted to put like a pack brake or an exhaust brake on it, you could integrate the two together. So you'd hit the engine brake button, it would tell the TCM to do that. It would also close the exhaust valve, so we have that. Then we also have cancel overdrive, which if you hit that, it locks you out of the overdrive gears in the transmission. We also have the tow haul mode. Yeah, that's if you're towing and hauling. So that just changes your, I think it changes the shift pattern slightly, and I don't know what else it does, but we have it. Never used it because I don't tow or haul much. Wonder what happens if you have all 3 on. I don't know. So that is the transmission inputs. When we first got everything kind of hooked up, like I said, I used the J1939, trying to use the data link so that the ECM and the TCM would just kind of talk and give each other what they need. Our other option, if that hadn't worked, would have been to put in a separate throttle position sensor, and there was a whole bunch of stuff we would have had to tie in separate, you know, inputs into the TCM, so then they'd be seeing different, you know, the TCM would see its own data and the ECM would see its own data. I wanted to use the data link. I thought it sounded a little easier, less stuff to go wrong, you know, they can both see the same stuff. I don't know. But when we first got it all hooked up, it did not work, which Jason did tell me could be a possibility. Basically, what it was is the ECM was set up for the ATMT
HT series transmission, which is all mechanical, you know, the AT545. So the powertrain control module data link was turned off. So I had to have Cat hook up to it and turn that on to get it to talk with each other. We also changed a few other settings, and I mentioned earlier that I didn't know which on my brake pedal, I didn't know whether it was using the normally open positive input or the normally closed grounded circuit, and I actually found all that information as well. That's something that can be changed fairly easy too. So yeah, we got the TCM and the ECM playing nice with each other. We got the cruise control working. Still have a little bit of work to do with the transmission stuff. We'll get there eventually. They call it a project for a reason, but for now it runs and drives. And so far, since I got the speedometer calibrated, we put 219 miles on it, which is like not a lot. We put way more on it than that. We probably put close to 1,000 miles on it. Since the swap, things are working good. And I'm foreshadowing. This is like the video that you saw before this was shot like months ago, and this is being shot today. So there'll be more to come, don't you worry. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button. Still have a lot of work to do on the truck. Little projects here and there. We still got to finish the 4-wheel drive. We got to make a shifter for it. There's just lots of little projects, you know. You fix one thing, you find another. Don't you worry, this isn't the end of the end. There will be more videos to follow. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this wiring series. I think this is going to be the end of that. Actually, there might be like one more little clip in the next video, but it's not really anything. But anyways, hope you guys are having a good day. We'll see you in the next video.